have been so unmotivated lately. I think it's because it's just like the change of the season and all I feel like doing is shopping and drinking.
Drunk, chaotic, distressed, very, very sad.
It's a Gunnar problem. Hey y'all, it's Gunnar Deatherage. Welcome back to my channel. Before we hop into it, I do want to say thank you to our sponsor today, Jade Black, for allowing us to create this video. As you know, I'm a DIY creator, I'm a dress designer, I'm a take on fun challenges, but today we're gonna do something just a little bit different. I'm gonna walk you guys through the process of creating a sewing pattern from start to finish. We're going to like create it from a sketch, and then I'm gonna make the physical pattern, and then we're gonna work all the way through creating the patterns that my patrons on my Patreon print out, cut out, sew together. And so there's a really cool step in here that nobody really understands. And so unless you work in the industry, it's this like weird gray area that nobody really has a grasp on. So I thought it could be kind of fun to like pull the veil back on like how to make sewing patterns and how it's actually created. If you guys are interested in learning more about my Patreon, just wanting to support me, want access to my sewing patterns, DIY videos, all of that's on my Patreon, and all of that is in the description of this video. Before we get into it, make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that little bell notification. I want you guys to see my content as it comes out. So what is a sewing pattern and what goes into a sewing pattern? So technically, a sewing pattern is just a template for you to be able to cut out the fabrics and make whatever is on the front of the pattern, whether that's a jacket, a coat, a dress, a gown, whatever you're in the mood for. And then it has little instructions all around it that kind of teach you how to put it together. It does have a lot of techniques involved with using them usually, so that's why it's kind of nice to like have an instructor or to kind of have a general grasp of what the instructions are or the glossary and the index of it. Also, I am not a sketch artist.
Baby, you ain't kidding.
Please, for the love of God, don't judge my sketching that crazy. Whenever I start coming up with an idea, I kind of have a concept of like, okay, where am I at right now? What am I into? Do I want to make a dress, a jacket? And so for this video, I'm gonna make a dress. I have a love affair with the 1950s dresses. I think the little fit and flare style is just so flattering on everyone. Whenever a pattern is created, I typically will draft it out on my dress form. I use something called a drape tape to kind of create my lines so that that will show me where my seams are going to be. And then over top of that, I drape using a cotton muslin. And I just kind of pin it and like I give it a little tightness to the dress form, and I create the volume where I want the volume. It's really like sculpting, which is really beautiful when it comes to draping. For me, it makes the most sense. Once I've draped my pattern on the dress form, I take a pencil and I start sketching over the lines underneath of it. And that shows me where my seams are going to be. And then once I pull it off of the form and it's actually flat again, you can see the physical shape that it's actually going to take. And then from there, I'll just go over it with a ruler and I kind of correct everything. I add in my seam allowance. If you don't know what seam allowance is, it is something that we use. We add in a little extra fabric so that way when we sew it together, it ends up being the exact measurements as we wanted it before. So once I've created my muslin mock-up and I love the fit of it, what I do for my sewing patterns is I will send my muslin to my pattern maker. All right, let's take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, which is Jade Black Glasses. So sunglasses are usually really expensive. Jade Black knew that. They were like, we're not gonna pay $150 for a pair. What we're going to do is we're going to make sunglasses that are made out of like stainless steel, Italian acetate, Teflon. They're not gonna rust. A pair of Jade Black glasses, including the polarized lenses, is literally $49, and that does not even include the discount code I'm about to give you. I never know what I'm going to wear, so I appreciate a company that has products that can fit almost anything from sequins to leopard print to leather. I like options. Jade Black just partnered with the company Your Way in New York, so all of their New York customers can get their orders same day. I'm sure you guys are just as impatient as I am, so that's a big deal. Jade Black is actually having a Black Friday sale, which means that everything is 50% off. Product is moving very quick, and you get a free pair whenever you buy 3. They also offer blue light prescription services, regular sunglasses, you absolutely name it. Also, if you use code Gunnar, G-U-N-N-A-R at checkout, you get an extra 10%. I got you. I work with a very talented pattern maker named Katina, and she owns patternhack.com. She has some really big clients in the world, one of her bigger ones being Mood Fabrics. She creates incredible patterns. When I started working with her, one of the first things we did was decide like, what is our size chart? So one thing I've always found is that there are problems when it comes to sizing and that there's no strong like structured way of doing it. A size 12 could not fit a size 12 in one brand. And so we've kind of gotten into like glamour sizing where people change numbers around. And so I'm a big fan of like clothing that fits. If the size says what it is, I want it to fit that size. And so we really started researching like, how can we find a proper way of doing this? And so we came across a technology that has done thousands of body scans of different people and different bodies, and it's kind of given you the average number of every size. And so we based all of our numbers off of that so that we could have a more accurate sizing. My pattern maker will take it, She will transfer that into the computer using her special ways, and we'll actually be able to see a 3D version of the pattern pieces, and she can assemble those pattern pieces in this computer program. I can try them out with different fabrics. We can see the way that they move. We can lift the fabric and see how they fall on the body. It's really incredible to be able to see the pattern move and adjust. So once we've done that, pattern grading is where you take one size and you turn it into other sizes. One thing that's unique that we do is that we grade from a size 00 up to a size 16. And then from there, we grade from a size 18 up to a 32. And what's cool about that is that a size 00 is not always going to look the exact same on a size 32, even if it's graded up all the way, you know, just by a computer doing it. So sometimes I think the drape needs to be a little different. It needs to be changed a little bit here and there. And so we really have kind of gone in and created our own way of creating a size range that works for all the different sizes. And that way, it's not just like a one size fits all, even though you change the numbers in the math. She will create a yield for me, which is basically like a layout for the fabrics to be cut. And that kind of helps us decide on what the yardage is going to be for the garment. We also go through and we check all of the little notches on the pattern, which are these little bitty dots that kind of help you put everything together and make sure that it's going to adjust and like be a good fit. And then, you know, we look at all the little lines and make sure all the notations are on there. We add my pretty little labels on them. And then she sends me a physical copy of the pattern to assemble. And then afterwards, it's time for me to start assembling the garments. I always cut out all of my patterns first. I look at all the details on them. I start putting them together. If anything is a little off, I can kind of call her and be like, hey, let's change this. I've never really thought I'd be in a place where I could create patterns. And so now that I'm doing it, it's so cool. I get to see other people make my garments, and in their own ways and their own spins, they've taken their own life on. I just find the entire process to be so incredibly gratifying. That's how your garments in the store are produced for you. It's just really cool to be able to do this and see what everyone's making with them and inspire other people to also learn how to sew and create. I also love the way this dress came out. I think it's so cute. I just really feel like it captures the essence of the 1950s, and like, I don't know why I love that era in fashion so much, but it just speaks to my little gay soul. And so I really love the way this came out, and I cannot wait to see what my patrons make with it. My patterns do go live to all the rest of the general public every month also, just like a month later. So I think a lot of people will enjoy really making it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video today. If you have questions or you want to see it in depth, please let me know. I'm working on a magical month of Christmas things for you guys, so make sure that you stay tuned. And until next time, bye guys.